Would you call the roll, please?
My pleasure, Mr. Chairman. Lisa Clem. Here. Thomas LaFawn.
Here.
Thomas Bradley.
Here.
Robert Langel.
Here.
Larry Polanski.
Here.
Frank Perry.
Here.
Dan Miscavige.
Here.
Before we go into the audience participation, I would like to turn the meeting over to Matt Cosba. I think he has some things to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I'd like to recognize and honor one of the members of the Kear Township Police. Detective Yurchak is a 15-year veteran of the Kear Township Police Department. He's not only respected by his fellow officers, but he's respected by officers throughout the county and with the District Attorney's Office. He successfully prosecuted numerous major cases and assisted the Pennsylvania State Police, DEA, and the FBI with cases such as homicide, child pornography, and robbery cases in 3 counties. His commitment to and dedication to our department and the township is remarkable. He's a natural leader and is willing to assist his fellow officers anytime, day or night. Today I'd like to congratulate him on his promotion to sergeant. This way? Now, if his wife and son want to come up and pin his new badge on his uniform?
On behalf of the board, I want to congratulate Neil again on his promotion. He is well deserving and has done an excellent job.
Thank you.
Audience participation. Yes, will you please state your name and
Kathy Weber.
you know you have a slot for time.
I'm guessing that Mr. Polanski's ready
I-
to sit down. I'm here representing the EAC tonight. Last night, we passed another resolution concerning the pipeline. I'm not going to go into all the details about the pipeline. We've had that information given to you in December. What we're looking for is for us as a community to upgrade our ordinances. Now, I know everybody's going to say, wait, this is going under FERC. Our ordinances don't mean anything. If we can stop this pipeline through FERC, then it reverts back to the townships, and the townships then have the power with the ordinances. But that's only going to work if we have the ordinances in place first. So I believe you have a resolution in your packet with the cover letter. I would also like to present to you some information about how to present to FERC. We're asking that you present December's resolution and current resolution to FERC for us. Because the more voices we have there, the more opposition, there's a chance that we can stop it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes.
As every husband should do following his wife, Chuck Weber. First of all, I see the agenda item tonight, and thank you profusely for taking on board this resolution. As my wife was pointing out, there's a daisy chain of logic that takes place with us, with you being able to gain power over this situation. and this is what it is. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, may be removed from the process by its own volition if enough business, township, and citizenry make comment on their website or at their meetings or by mail or through the submission of resolutions through their representative government. So with all those together, we're trying to get them to step away. And if that happens, if there's enough of a public outcry, and they do that, then it reverts back to local ordinance to control everything. Now, you may be familiar with Act 13 of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which purports to usurp your homeland rule, if you will, and that was recently struck down by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Chief Justice Ron Castile was the filed the notes of record on that decision, and then it was revisited again this last September, and again they refused to rehear further evidence on the matter, so it is now closed. Which means that your ordinance will stand principally for any pipeline or anything of that nature that comes through Kidder Township. I've gone through your ordinances and found chapter 127 of your ordinances, which speaks to oil and gas well generation plants, but it does not extend further to pipelines or to, most notably, compressor stations where the real danger lies. If you didn't know, one just blew up in California, 8 people were killed. There have been 6 incidences in March of 2013 in Pennsylvania, fortunately none near us. So your ordinance needs to be amended. I will volunteer to help amend that if I'm allowed, because I've done so much research and got even more updated information today on this process. But anyway, that being in place and FERC being removed from the process places you in charge of what happens on your turf. And I think that's probably what you really want to have. So that's my presentation today. I don't know if you saw, I presented today to Carbon County Commissioners a resolution that was similar to the one we presented to you, but was expanded to include all county concerns, and they were very receptive on the matter. We were televised tonight on Channel 13 as well. So I thank you for your kind attention throughout this process, and we'll be monitoring what the Phoenix Pipeline people want to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
One question, will you be presenting or speaking at the next scoping meeting that FERC is on?
I'm planning on going there. I do not know yet if I'll be presenting or not. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Len Tissio, representing the Kidder Township PAC, to the supervisors and the residents of the township. There is a time to get that comments into FERC. You have to be in before February 11th. So everybody be aware that if they want to send, and everybody can send comments and comment on this thing. And the more they get, the better chance we have of stopping it or at least changing it. So they have to be there before February 11th. And this all can be filed electronically. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ralph?
Yeah, Ralph Lennon, Fire Chief from Lake Harmony. About a month ago, the supervisors, for one reason or another, redistricted the fire districts in Kidder Township, and of course that's their prerogative. What happened after that, once the districts were changed, I took it upon myself as the Chief of Fire District 17. My concern here is the public safety in Kidder Township. I think decisions were made here that are really creating a problem for the fire department, the public, and I think the supervisors have made some decisions that, which I'm going to ask in a little bit, what the qualifications were to make this decision. Normally, the fire chief in each district decides who he's going to have respond with him or with his company for certain alarms. I believe this practice has been in effect for, I've been running with fires for 50 years here, since '65 at Lake Harmony, and I don't know that the supervisors have stepped in and set these rules. The fire chiefs are allowed to make decisions for fighting structure fires, going out and rescuing people out of cars, saving lives and water and so forth, but they're not capable of deciding who should run with them. I think that's a big mistake. I hate to throw this out here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yesterday, based on the companies that I have to have come with me, I had one company, I had 2 alarms, one in the afternoon, one at 1 o'clock in the morning. I got no response whatsoever from those people. Absolutely absurd. I was going to call the supervisors. I didn't have your numbers and ask who I should call next, but, you know, I didn't have your numbers, or I think I probably would have. On the other hand, they're making us run 3 fire companies for a helicopter landing. And I'd like to ask, I'll take the guy on the end, why do we need 3 companies for a helicopter landing? On the turnpike, I know District 16, I know the chief's not happy there, you're making 3 companies go onto the turnpike. The Turnpike Commission does not want 3 companies on there. You're costing extra fuel, you're extra wear and tear on the apparatus. It's totally out of control, and I think you people are going in the wrong direction. I know my answer is that I'm going to get back, wait till fire board. My people are so upset, I don't know if they're coming to fire board. So I think, number one, I'd like to hear from each member as to why they're more qualified than the fire chiefs, and I'd like to ask for a vote that says, hey, maybe we want to rescind this. And you people in the audience, I think you should be aware of this, because I think you're the people who are getting the short end of the stick. Because if you take these firemen off and they quit, then I think we're really in trouble. So that's my presentation. So we want to start with being what his qualifications are. That would exceed.
Ralph, that's an unfair question.
Why is it? You made the decision.
Ralph, it's an unfair question.
I don't think it is, because you think it is and I don't. That doesn't make me wrong.
You were wrong to have sent that,
Why?
that 1 card out to begin with.
Excuse me?
You were wrong to have sent that out to begin with the changes.
No one said I couldn't do that. It's been a practice for years. You didn't tell me I couldn't do that.
But we said at the meeting prior to that, Ralph, that
What?
there would be no changes in that regard.
You said that. You said that.
Yes, I did.
I asked for a meeting. I didn't want to air this in public. I asked for a meeting, and I can't get the meeting in private, so I don't know where else to go. I don't know what the rest of the people think about, but I think you're playing with dynamite here. Because these guys are ready to say, you know what? Let the supervisors go to the fires.
We did not tell you that you couldn't have a meeting. We wanted to go before the fire board first.
Exactly, and I'm telling you what's happening beyond there. I'm hearing people say, no, why even go to fire board? That's how mad they are and upset. And I'm not going to get into the other parts of it, the administrative part, which you
Who are
people
these
should
people,
handle.
Ralph? Who are the people you're talking about?
Our firemen.
Your firemen.
Right. Not all of them, obviously, but
No, that's not my point. My point is, what, if you, the reaction of the board, I think, was appropriate. Apparently, what has happened over the last 6 months, a year, is that each of the fire companies has begun to not call or call off or ask for a change on the call list at the comm center. Fair or not fair, I don't know. You're right, I am not qualified to do that. But I believe that there has to be agreement among all 3 fire companies as to what the calls should look like. I think I agree wholeheartedly that things like helicopter landings are specialized to a particular area. It depends on where it happened and where they're landing. There are other things that you brought to me about if a tree falls in Lake Harmony, there's no sense for Albrightsville or Kidder to come help you cut a tree. And I agree to that. What the board has said is we want to go to they want me to go, as a matter of fact, and Frank Pieri, and have the 3 fire companies tell us how they think the calls should be allocated. What has happened in the past is the rule was, in fact, that the township was to make the final decision on those changes. As you indicate, that's not how they've been made. When talking to the comm center, what we found was they assumed that the township supervisors had approved the changes that were being made by the fire companies. And that was wrong. The right to make those changes.
because I think the supervisors had enough confidence and faith in the fire chief.
Had nothing to do with it. They didn't know what the hell they were doing at that point.
And I think it hasn't changed from
I agree,
feedback.
well, that may be so, Ralph.
Plus the fact, you go back to the fire board thing, you think one of the fire companies is gonna say, oh, I agree that we shouldn't go to that call.
Well, we're gonna see what they have to say.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of the petty desires of each of the fire companies, it's a matter of safety for the community.
That's exactly what I'm
And
saying.
I don't see how the board temporarily saying the toneouts are for all three fire companies changes the factor of safety for our community. If someone didn't show, well, they didn't show, but at least they were called to go there. And in the
Or
interim,
the poor guy that's hanging out the window, I mean, says, boy, that was great, they called us, but nobody showed
Well,
up. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here, I'm looking out for the community. I could say, you know what, whatever you guys want is great, and live with it. But with a clear conscience, I can't do that. I mean,
nor can we, Ralph, and we want to do the fairest thing for each of the fire companies and for the community.
yeah, well, we've let this go for 5 weeks. It's a month ago that it started, and we've been running 3 companies supposedly for helicopters, for on the turnpike. Unfortunately, there haven't been a lot of calls in that direction. But suppose somebody gets in an accident going there, and somebody looks at it and says, they called 3 companies out for a helicopter landing, and some poor family was killed in a crash.
God forbid anything like that happen, Ralph.
We are
Yeah, I know.
looking for a consensus of all 3 fire companies, hopefully to discuss this at length at the fire commission meeting and come
Thank
back
you
to
for your,
the
thanks
board
for your time.
with their recommendations, but a consensus that all 3 are in agreement to do. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. We have the minutes from the regular meeting of December 18th. We have an approval of those minutes. All in favor? We have the minutes from the reorganization meeting which took place on January 5th. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We also have minutes from the elected auditors meeting of January 6th. I don't believe any of us were at that meeting, but I think we should just acknowledge it
Move to accept move to accept the minutes.
as a report format. Is there a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have current bills in the amount of $80,189.20. I have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
We have under subdivision land development, we have the Warder Lachette, I believe I'm saying it properly, minor subdivision, final plan, lot revision. It's a recommendation from the planning commission that we approve this, subject to the plans being signed and notarized.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have resolution number 201. I'm sorry, we have, I did, thank you. My eyes, new glasses are not working. Okay, we have under all business, we want to adopt ordinance number 171 for the MetroCast cable franchise agreement. It's been advertised. I will again go on record to say that we're not necessarily happy with some of their service to us, but it is money coming into the community, and it seems to be our only choice at this time.
Move the adoption of ordinance 171.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Like I said, when we went to advertise, we gotta know that we're upset.
I would, by the way, I would also vote nay on that, just for the record, but we do have to pass this. So, yeah, we have 3 votes.
2 no.
Okay. adopt resolution number 2015-001 for the disposition of municipal records, basically telling us what years, et cetera, what we can do, and we essentially destroy the older records. So, for a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll move to adopt resolution 2015-001.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have resolution number 2015-002. This is on the Penny's pipeline. I think it's important to say that we are aware that the EAC did provide another form of that resolution to us. We unfortunately did not have enough time, and board members didn't have enough time to look at that one. But we had already had prepared one, and it has gone through our legal counsel as well. And I would look to adopt the one that has been prepared previously, with the understanding that if there are any changes, we will make them by next month.
I would say for the record that it's not exactly what you handed to us. There are some amendments.
May I raise a question before you take your vote, sir?
Yes, sir.
We was explained to us before the meeting the reasons why you changed it, and that made perfect sense. We only found out yesterday that the deadline for you as board to submit these to FERC is February 12th. It has to be in, so as the gentleman said, the 11th is the opportune date of target. I don't know if you can meet outside of this venue to approve the one from EAC or not, or must it be done at an open internal meeting?
Must be done at an open meeting.
Sir?
Open meeting.
It must be. So
And
the
I'd like
EAC,
some time to review it.
Most of the board members have not had a chance to review the second.
of course,
This is your first submission.
And more legal counsel, so it would be unfair right now to just arbitrarily
I
approve
understand.
it without looking at it.
The important thing is that we will be on the record and we probably will be testifying.
Yes.
And that is just super. Thank you
We
so
saw
much.
that date coming up, and I do give Larry a lot of credit because he did a lot of work on this
Thank you, sir.
to get this going. So, that being said, I'd like to have a motion to adopt resolution number 2015-002, the Penn East Pipeline.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have had 3 bids and interviews with 3 different companies for saldo and zoning ordinances. We have set money aside to review these, make the appropriate changes. I believe the planning commission was a big part of the interview process. We've had comments from our building inspector, Bob Dobosh, as well as our zoning person, Ginny, and they are all pointing towards one of the 3 companies. We have proposals from Arrow, we have proposals from Act One and
Community
Community Plan.
Community plan.
And it seems that community planning seems to be the favorite. But I will open this for any appropriate motions.
I would move that we choose community planning and management as the consultant for saldo and
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good, we're able to now move forward in that area, and it is an important one. They are actually going to be rewriting the ordinances. Jamie,
Patrick,
You look puzzled or unhappy.
Yes and no.
He's always unhappy, no.
Is that in sequence, yes and no?
I know you were there as part of that interview process, but it seemed to be the majority of the board felt they wanted to go this way. Okay. There's something new that's come into play with our tax collector that we actually have to ask her for a recommendation for a replacement should she become disabled, a temporary replacement. And she came up with 3 names from 3 different areas, and our recommendation is to appoint all 3, and I could read them if you'd like. Pauline Hahn from...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
it would be for deputy tax collector.
deputy tax collector, yes.
In the event of the incapacitation.
Yes, right. So if that tax collector, Kim Janopoulos, became permanently disabled, it changes the whole picture. Then we would actually have to appoint, or actually put up a new person into that position, and they have to then be a resident of the township. But right now, the deputy does not have to be according to the information that we've received. So again, the 3 names that have been mentioned are Pauline Hahn from Mahoney Township, Lisa Nemeth from Palmington Borough, and Josiah Behrens from Penn Forest Township. So I would look to have a motion to approve the recommendations from Kim Janopoulos.
I would move to approve Kim Janopoulos' recommendations
Second.
for the appointment of deputy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please, Chairman.
Police chairman is pleased about the promotion we had. I recommend to the board they do a good reading of the annual report that Chief Pressman has provided. It indicates a very productive year by the police department. I congratulate him for the year and for the report.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
That's it. Roadmaster.
I have nothing.
Solicitor.
Nothing additional.
Township manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'd just like to remind everybody that we did apply for some local shared account monies through Monroe County for the Albrightsville Fire Company for some equipment, and also for the Lake Harmony Volunteer Fire Company for the 2015 Firemen's Convention, State Convention. We have not heard anything on the grants yet. I believe DCD has their meetings later in January, so hopefully we'll have some news for February, hopefully some good news. So, as you can tell, we started construction on the building. They're doing what they can in the inside of the building now. Hopefully that they can do as much as they can before they have to get outside into some warmer weather. And February's meeting is February 19th. Thursday, February 19th, and if Albrightsville will have us, we would like to have our meeting at their fire company due to the construction. We're a little concerned about some dust and parking and whatnot, so we will advertise that. Jean, if that's okay with your company?
Refreshments, Gene?
Refreshments, Jean, I did hear that.
What?
Maybe we have to retake it.
You don't have to eat.
See balls fly out of his pocket.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Matt?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Planning Commission had their meeting on January 7th. The notes are in your file, the zoning officer's reports in your file. The zoning hearing board had a
They didn't have a meeting.
They didn't have a meeting, I'm sorry. That's why there's nothing in the file. Okay. Sewage enforcement officers' report is in the file. Code enforcement officers' report is in the file. EAC, as you know, had the meeting last night. Report is in the file. Safety committee met tonight, actually today. And a report is in your file. The 911 addressing report is in your file. They are moving along. Did you want to comment any more about that, Lisa, as far as we move forward with the fire companies and signs?
Some of the addresses have been sent to Harrisburg. We're waiting for approval back from them. Once we get the approval, there will be letters that will be going out to the residents, notifying them of their new address, and they will have a time period to erect those signs. If the fire companies are going to sell the signs, if you have a flyer or something that you could provide us that we could put in that notification to the people, if they can bring their letter to their fire company and purchase their signs. Or if you're not going to purchase them, perhaps they could go to one of the other fire companies to get their sign.
Lisa, will you have for us, for the fire board, the maps and the street change names? I had one copy of the street change names,
Yes.
but if you could get us like maybe 6 maps and 6 for the fire
Sure,
board.
sure. And actually, those maps that you had asked me about are on your desk in there, so they are, so.
All right,
But, yeah, we'll get some maps together for the fire companies.
thank you.
We do have reports in from all 3 fire companies as well as the rescue squad. We did have an executive session, an information session prior to tonight's meeting. With that, I'd ask for a motion to put all reports on file.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, we are adjourned.
Hi, Rudy.
Thank you.
How are you